Forgiving ourselves. John Plummer lives the quiet life of a Methodist pastor in a sleepy Virginia town, but things weren't always that way. As a helicopter pilot during the Vietnam War, he helped organize a napalm raid on the village of Trang Bang in 1972, a bombing immortalized by a prize-winning photograph of one of its victims. For the next 24 years, John was haunted by the photograph, an image that for many people captured the essence of the war, a naked and burned 9-year-old running toward the camera, with plumes of black smoke billowing in the sky behind her. For 24 years, John's conscience was tormented. He wanted to find the little girl, to tell her that he was sorry, but he could not. Turning in on himself, he grew more and more depressed, and he began to drink. Then, in an almost unbelievable coincidence, John met Kim during an event at the Vietnam War Memorial on Veterans Day, 1996. Kim had come to Washington, D.C. to lay a wreath at the monument. John had come to D.C. with a group of former pilots unable to come to terms with their shared past, but they were determined to stick together anyway. In a speech to the crowd, Kim introduced herself as the girl in the famous photograph. She still suffers from her burns, she said, but she was not bitter, and she wanted people to know that others had suffered even more than she had. Behind that picture of me, thousands and thousands of people died. They lost parts of their bodies. Their whole lives were destroyed, and nobody took their picture. Kim went on to say that although she could not change the past, she had forgiven the men who had bombed her village, and that she felt a calling to promote peace by fostering goodwill between America and Vietnam. John, beside himself, pushed through the crowds and managed to catch her attention before she was whisked away by a police escort. He identified himself as a former pilot in Vietnam and said that he felt responsible for the bombing of her village 24 years before. He says, "Kim saw my grief, my pain, my sorrow. She held out her arms to me and embraced me. All I could say was, 'I'm sorry, over and over again.' And at that same time, she was saying, 'It's all right, I forgive you.'" John says that it was vital for him to meet face-to-face with Kim and to tell her that he had agonized for years over her injuries without having had the chance to get that off his chest. He is not sure that he could have ever forgiven himself. As it turned out, of course, he got even more than he had hoped for. Kim forgave him. Reflecting on the way the incident changed his life, John maintains that forgiveness is neither earned nor even deserved, but a gift. It is also a mystery. He still can't quite grasp how a short conversation could wipe away a 24-year nightmare. Matthew chapter 6, verse 14. "For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father also will forgive you." Kim had forgiven John and those who helped in the attack many years ago. Now John was able to forgive himself. "For he that cannot forgive others breaks the bridge over which he must pass himself. For every man has need to be forgiven." Thomas Fuller. You can't undo anything you've already done, but you can face up to it. You can tell the truth. You can seek forgiveness and let God do the rest, unknown. We achieve inner health only through forgiveness. The forgiveness not only of others, but also of ourselves. Joshua Lott Leibman. It's toughest to forgive ourselves, so it is probably best to start with other people. It's almost like peeling an onion. Layer by layer, forgiving others, you really do get to the point where you can forgive yourself. Patty Duke.